This is San Edwards, and if you're listening to this, there's a good chance you've been trying to figure out some things that nobody ever really teaches. Not because you're lazy or because you're not smart, and definitely not because you're not working hard enough. If anything, most people I meet are doing the exact opposite. They're working, taking care of responsibilities, raising families, running businesses, paying bills, helping other people, and trying to make good decisions with the information they have. The problem is that nobody ever sits down and explains how all these different pieces fit together. You hear one thing about credit, something else about real estate, a completely different conversation about taxes. Then somebody starts talking about LLCs, business funding, private lending, estate planning and insurance, trusts, retirement accounts, or investment properties, and before long, it feels like everybody got a handbook except you. I know that feeling. Years ago, I started working behind the scenes with investors around the country. I had a real estate license. I worked in mortgage origination and credit repair. I spent years supporting private investors, helping coordinate projects, marketing opportunities, and watching how deals actually moved from idea to execution. I even coordinated the sale of a $5.8 million 3-hotel merger. What surprised me most was how much of it came down to understanding the bigger picture. The people who seemed to move through opportunities more easily weren't operating from some secret playbook. They simply understood how all these things connected. They knew how to prepare before they needed funding, how to build relationships before they needed partners, and how to recognize opportunities when they appeared. They understood that credit, business structure, real estate, taxes, insurance, and access to capital weren't separate conversations. They were all a part of the same ecosystem. That realization eventually led me to create the Legacy Builder membership. I wanted to build the kind of community I wish existed when I was learning all of this. A place where people could learn from real professionals, ask questions, build relationships, and get access to information that actually helps them make better decisions. Inside the membership, we have 2 tracks. One is called Contractors to Investors. The other is our Community Wealth and Ownership track, which many members know as the Money Manifesto Circle. The reason they're housed together is because they're headed to the same destination: ownership. People come into the membership for different reasons, but over time, most of them realize they're working toward the same thing: creating more options for themselves and the people they care about. For some, that means learning how to move beyond getting paid for labor and start building equity, assets, and long-term wealth. For others, it means improving their credit, understanding investing, preparing for retirement, strengthening a business, or creating a stronger financial foundation for their family. One of the things I love about this community is that people quickly realize they're closer than they think. A contractor may already possess one of the most valuable skills in real estate, which is knowing how to build, and simply need better positioning, stronger relationships, and a clearer understanding of how deals come together. A veteran may discover that a VA loan can open doors they hadn't even considered before. A property owner may learn how shared housing works and decide they like to create additional income while helping address housing challenges in their community. Landlords can finally get clear information about voucher programs, how they work, and why many property owners are beginning to look at them differently. Business owners often discover opportunities in acquisitions, partnerships, redevelopment, or strategic growth that never showed up on their radar before. What makes all of that possible is access to the right conversations. That's why we bring in investors, developers, lenders, attorneys, contractors, business owners, insurance professionals, tax strategists, and other experienced operators who can share real-world perspectives on what they're seeing and what they're learning. We talk about personal and business credit, funding readiness, joint ventures, private lending, real estate investment groups, business acquisitions, redevelopment, wealth preservation, estate planning, risk management, and many of the conversations most people don't get exposed to until much later. More importantly, we help people understand how those topics connect to their own goals instead of overwhelming them with information. The membership is also connected to something much larger. The Inspired Village wasn't built as a course company. It was built as an ecosystem. Over the years, I've worked to connect housing, workforce development, community wealth building, resource navigation, redevelopment, strategic partnerships, and business growth in ways that create real opportunities for real people. That's why you'll hear us talking about shared housing and workforce housing, property ownership, community development, business growth, and collaborative opportunities alongside conversations about personal finance and investing. They're all connected. The more you understand how these pieces work together, the easier it becomes to recognize opportunities when they appear. At the end of the day, that's really what this membership is all about. Helping good people become better positioned. Helping them understand how the game works before they're expected to play it. And introducing them to the right relationships before they need them. Helping them move forward toward ownership in whatever makes the most sense in their life, for their family, and their goals. The Legacy Builder membership is $129 a month. If you've been looking for a place where the conversations are practical, the people are genuine, and the focus is on helping you build something that lasts, I'd love to welcome you into the community, because legacy isn't built overnight. It's built through the decisions you make, the relationships you build, and the opportunities you prepare to recognize when they arrive.